The 2024 WNBA All-Star Weekend was supposed to be Caitlin Clark's big moment, her chance to host, shine, and dominate the headlines as the first overall draft pick turned cultural icon, but fate had a different plan. An untimely injury benched her from the game, yet her presence loomed just as large, if not larger, from the sidelines. Stepping into the spotlight in an unexpected and powerful way was Aliyah Boston, a fellow top pick and all-star center, who went from being relentlessly criticized to widely celebrated, all within one transformative season. At the beginning of the year, few would have guessed this would be the arc Aliyah. Despite her obvious raw talent and strong collegiate pedigree from South Carolina, was called out by fans and media alike for being out of shape, too slow, or not ready for prime time. Social media turned harsh. She quietly deactivated, retreated from the noise, and turned inward, not in defeat, but in preparation. Because here's where the story gets interesting. Rather than deny the criticism or make excuses, Aliyah owned it. She admitted she wasn't ready for the breakneck pace Caitlin Clark brought to the game, wasn't conditioned for the non-stop movement, high IQ passes, and transition play that Caitlin executed with ease. And instead of seeing Caitlin as a threat to her career, she saw her as a challenge to rise toward. She hit the gym, recalibrated her mindset, pushed herself in training to meet the physical and mental demands of playing with someone who not only runs the floor like a blur but reads defenses with near-psychic precision. By mid-season, everything changed. Aliyah Boston wasn't just surviving the Caitlin Clark experience, she was thriving. She became a dominant force on both ends of the court, averaging 15.6 points, 7.6 rebounds, 3.7 assists per game, and leading the entire league in field goal percentage at an elite 56.3%. Those numbers aren't just impressive, they're career-changing. But what truly sets this story apart is what Aliyah did next. She didn't take all the credit for her improvement. She didn't fall into the usual trap of vague post-game quotes or ego-boosting platitudes. She went public, authentically and boldly, about how much Caitlin Clark had pushed her, inspired her, and changed her entire approach to the game. She talked about how she had to learn to read Caitlin's body language, anticipate her passes, and get into elite-level shape just to keep up. She said flat out, this wasn't just playing with a good teammate, this was adapting to a generational talent. And that kind of honesty is rare in professional sports, where pride often outweighs praise. But not for Aliyah. She gave flowers, and she gave them with specifics. This wasn't generic teammate flattery. She described the missed connections early in the season, the turnovers that weren't Caitlin's fault but her own, because she hadn't adjusted yet to Caitlin's speed and vision. She described how hard it is, physically and mentally, to keep up with someone who moves faster and thinks quicker than almost anyone else in the league. And that honesty? It changed everything. It validated what so many fans and analysts had already suspected, that Caitlin Clark's presence on the court is transformative not just in terms of attention or ticket sales, but in actual basketball impact. And Aliyah's vulnerability gave the rest of the league permission to be honest too. Because while many benefit from the Caitlin Clark effect, from increased media attention to higher viewership and improved spacing on the court, very few are willing to say so out loud. Most let their pride talk louder than their performance. But Aliyah Boston showed the opposite. She showed that greatness invites you to level up, and if you accept that challenge, it can change your life. And just like that, Aliyah went from being a target of trade rumors to the face of a team-wide turnaround. Her Slam magazine cover wasn't just about stats. It was a celebration of her growth, her leadership, and her honesty. Her teammates even made custom t-shirts with her cover on it, surprising her in the locker room and proving that the Fever aren't just building a team, they're building a culture. A culture rooted in mutual respect, accountability, and elevation. Even Caitlin Clark, unable to play, still made her presence felt as Coach C, leading from the bench, energizing her teammates, and supporting Aliyah every step of the way. And while other teams around the league deal with ego clashes, media shade, and chemistry issues, the Fever are thriving, because players like Aliyah are setting the tone. She's not afraid to grow, not afraid to admit she had to change, and not afraid to say her teammate helped her get there. That's rare. That's real. That's leadership. And that's why this story is resonating far beyond box scores. It's a reminder that sports, at their best, are about more than just wins. They're about transformation, perseverance, and rising together. Think about it. Just months ago, fans were calling for Aliyah to be traded. Now, she's a cornerstone. Her growth is undeniable. Her efficiency is through the roof. And her story is inspiring players and fans alike. She went from doubted to dominant, and she did it with humility, hard work, and honesty. Her praise for Caitlin Clark isn't just a compliment. It's a blueprint for how to thrive in the presence of greatness. It's a reminder that when you're willing to be coachable, willing to adapt, and willing to put ego aside, amazing things can happen. And it's a lesson every player in the league could benefit from. Because let's be honest, there are plenty of players who've been elevated by Caitlin's game but would never say it out loud. Aliyah did, and in doing so, she changed the conversation. She showed what real teammate culture looks like. And now, the Fever aren't just a team with potential. They're a team with a foundation. A foundation of trust, transparency, and a shared mission to get better, together. So while Caitlin Clark may not have suited up for the All-Star game, her influence was everywhere. From the locker room to the sideline, from the improved efficiency of her teammates to the candid admiration from Aliyah Boston, her presence was unmistakable. And as for Aliyah, she proved that criticism doesn't define you, your response does. She showed that transformation isn't just about lifting weights or running sprints, it's about lifting your mindset and running toward growth. And most of all, she reminded the world that giving credit where it's due doesn't diminish you, it strengthens you. That's how you build legacy. That's how you build a winning team. And that's how you inspire the next generation. So now, the question isn't whether Aliyah Boston belongs among the WNBA's elite. She's already there. The real question is, who's next? Who else is ready to embrace the challenge, face the criticism, put in the work, and grow alongside greatness? Because Aliyah just set the standard, and the league is officially on notice. What did you think of her honesty and transformation? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more real WNBA content. Because if this season has taught us anything, it's that greatness isn't just born. It's built, brick by brick, with teammates who lift each other and stories that remind us why we fell in love with the game in the first place.